It all started with a laugh. Or at least, that's what Mom said. Come on, sweetie, just try it on. It's just for fun. She was holding up a frilly pink dress she'd found in one of the old boxes from the attic, something from her high school theater days, she claimed. I, Ryan Clark, 19 years old, and on a gap year before college, should have said no. I should have walked out of the living room that day and gone back to whatever game I'd been playing. But I didn't. Maybe it was the look in her eyes, hopeful, mischievous. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe I wanted to make her smile. She hadn't smiled much since the divorce. Whatever the reason, I chuckled and said, all right, but only for a second. Mom, or Marion as people called her, lived in a large suburban house just outside town. It had too many rooms and too much silence since Dad left. She used to have my older sister, Hannah, but she passed away 3 years ago. Car accident. Nobody talked about it anymore, but her room upstairs was still exactly the same, like a shrine. I wasn't supposed to go in there. I think sometimes she still sat in it, when I wasn't home. She'd call up to me from downstairs with a chirpy voice, but her eyes always looked just a little bit too wide. A little too bright. That day, the day of the dress, she had made cookies, brewed tea, and cleaned the living room spotless. It was unsettling. I expected it to be a quick joke. I'd try the dress on over my clothes, we'd laugh, maybe take a photo to mock me later. But she was serious. Take off your hoodie, honey. It'll look better that way. I blinked. Wait, you want me to actually wear it for real? She grinned. Just for a few minutes. Humor your old mother. She laid the pink dress on the couch like it was sacred. Then she handed me a pair of white pantyhose still in their plastic wrap. You kept all this stuff? I asked. She laughed. You'd be surprised what I've stored away over the years. Standing in front of the mirror in the hallway, I stared at my reflection. Pink satin clung to my frame. The sleeves were puffed. The lace trim at the collar itched a little. I looked ridiculous. I was about to laugh when I caught Mom's reflection behind me. She wasn't laughing. She was staring at me like she was seeing a ghost. Mom, she blinked, smiled. You just reminded me of someone. Hannah? She nodded slowly. A cold breeze moved down my spine. Later that night, she made dinner and called up the stairs. Danielle. Dinner's ready. I didn't answer at first. My name wasn't Danielle. She stepped into my room, holding a tray. Oh, sorry, I meant Ryan. I gave a confused chuckle. Right? But she didn't seem embarrassed. Almost like she hadn't made a mistake at all. The next day, I came downstairs to find her setting up her old camera tripod. What's that for? I asked, sipping orange juice. She turned. Oh, I just thought since we laughed so much yesterday, maybe you'd wear the dress again? For a few fun photos. I stared. She had the dress laid out already. This time with a matching headband and little white gloves. You're really into this joke thing, huh? She smiled again so wide it looked like it hurt. It's just for memories. You're such a good sport. That afternoon, I heard the doorbell ring. I was still in the dress. Mom insisted I keep it on just for an hour after the photos, to feel how fun it was. I peeked out the window. It was her friend, Carol, one of the church women. A gossip. I tried to dart upstairs, but Mom called. Stay, Danielle. Carol would love to say hello. My heart stopped. Wait, Mom. I'm not going out there like this. She whispered, sternly. You'll hurt my feelings if you disappear now. I froze. Carol stepped in, took one look at me, and smiled like it was the most normal thing in the world. Marion, she said warmly. She's beautiful. I tried to say something. Anything. Carol smiled at me again. What's her name, sweetheart? I opened my mouth, then looked at Mom. She gave me the softest, most terrifying nod. Danielle? I whispered. Carol clapped. Mom beamed. And something shifted inside me. Like a string had snapped, and a new one was quietly being pulled tighter. I expected her to drop it. That it was just a joke, and we'd go back to normal. But the next morning, there was no hoodie or jeans laid out on the laundry chair. Instead, a folded dress shirt, soft pink with a rounded collar, and a pair of pale leggings. No underwear. No boxers. But I found a pair of panties tucked inside the leggings. I called downstairs. Mom, did you wash my clothes? Yes, honey, she said sweetly. Where what I left out? I just want to see something. At breakfast, she handed me a pale pink lip gloss tube. Here. Just for fun. It matches your top. I tried to resist. She tilted her head. I made pancakes. Fine. I applied a thin layer, feeling ridiculous. She clapped softly like I was a toddler showing her a drawing. I felt warm, confused. The pancakes were heart-shaped. That afternoon, she called from the garden. Danielle, would you help me pick the rosemary? There was no hesitation in her voice. She wasn't joking anymore. I walked out still wearing the pink clothes. I didn't correct her. And I didn't hate the way the breeze moved through the soft fabric. That scared me. I sat on the couch reading when she walked up behind me with a brush. She started brushing my hair gently. You really should grow it longer, she murmured. My throat tightened. I didn't move. Her strokes were soft, hypnotic. She began humming a lullaby from my childhood. That's when I realized she used to do this to Hannah. One night, I found the door to Hannah's old room open. The lights were on. Inside, the walls were pastel lavender. A vanity still stood by the window. And on the bed, several outfits, laid out like a store display. I stepped in slowly. Each tag had a sticky note with sizes. My size. All recent. Mom, I called. She was behind me in the hallway. I thought maybe you'd like some of her things. My mouth went dry. They fit. I know, she said. A week later, I found a notebook left on my bed. It had my name on it, Danielle, written in swirly cursive. Inside, the first page read, "Every girl needs a diary." Below it, a list. Morning skincare. Voice practice. Sitting posture. Hair growth tracker. Feminine thoughts of the day. I flipped through. All blank pages. Waiting for me to start. She created a new email account for me. Danielle.Clark@. Just for fun, she said. We'll make a Pinterest board. You can follow makeup tips and dress styles. But I'm not actually. I started. She placed a finger to my lips. You're not what, sweetheart? My heart pounded. I'm not ready. She smiled. You're already beautiful. You'll feel ready soon. She played videos on YouTube. Here, sit with me. These are voice feminization coaches. I laughed awkwardly. I don't need to learn this. She just turned the volume up, then repeated the exercises alongside me. She nudged me to try. After 10 minutes, she recorded me. You sound adorable, she whispered. I didn't delete the video. Sunday morning came with an unexpected surprise. Put this on, Mom said, handing me a soft peach floral dress with puffed sleeves and white tights. What? Why? I told the ladies at church brunch I'd be bringing my daughter this week. My stomach dropped. I can't. She tilted her head. Please. Just once. For me. The phrase she always used. Just once. I said yes. At the brunch, I felt every eye. But not how I expected. The women cooed. Smiled. She's precious, one said. Those cheeks. What a lovely girl. Mom beamed. Thank you. Danielle's still getting used to it all. They all nodded, like that made perfect sense. I sat still, afraid to move wrong. But they never questioned it. It was like they always knew me as her daughter. I locked the door and looked at myself. Lip gloss catching the light. Hair brushed to the side. Dress hugging me gently. The mirror didn't reflect a boy in drag. It showed a girl trying not to cry. Not because she hated it, but because it felt too easy to accept. We passed the mall on the way home. Mom suddenly turned into the parking lot. What are we doing? She smiled. Just one quick stop. The kiosk was already open. I froze. Mom. Hush, she said. You'll thank me later. 10 minutes later, I walked out with small silver studs in each ear. She kissed my cheek and whispered, Now the world sees you the way I do. That night, I found a gift box waiting. Inside, a lace bralette and matching panties, soft pink. A handwritten note. My darling girl deserves to feel beautiful. Wear these just for you. Love. Mom's sparkling heart. I put them on. I didn't even fight it. And when I saw my reflection, I smiled. A notification buzzed on the tablet. It was from Carol. Tell Danielle I loved her dress. She fits this new role beautifully. So proud of you both. This new role. I stared at the screen. Why did it feel like I'd been cast in a part one never auditioned for? And worse, why was I performing so naturally? I opened a photo album labeled Family. Most of the photos were of Hannah. Then some new ones. Recent ones.
Me.
Wearing dresses. Smiling.
Cooking.
Each photo labeled Danielle, 2023. My breath caught. My old name? Nowhere. Late one night, I passed her door and heard her talking softly. She's perfect now. I don't think she even misses being him. Silence. Then a softer whisper. She was meant to be Danielle. I backed away quietly, heart pounding.
She wasn't talking to me.
But it felt like she was talking about the person I used to be, like he was gone. And I wasn't sure she was wrong. Mom had invited her coworkers over for dinner. I thought I'd be allowed to skip it. Danielle, she called sweetly. Come meet my friends. I froze at the bottom of the stairs. Can I change first? You already look perfect. I was in a soft lavender sweater dress and nude tights. Slippers on my feet. Hair curled. My voice caught. Okay. The women greeted me like a daughter-in-law. So well-mannered, they said. Mom touched my hand at the table, gently. She's really blossomed lately. Haven't you, sweetheart? I nodded slowly, feeling heat rise in my cheeks. After dessert, I overheard them in the kitchen. You'd never guess she used to be a boy. It's like she was always meant to be this way. Mom didn't correct them. She laughed softly and whispered, She's perfect now. A week later, I saw her hunched over the kitchen table.
Glue stick.
Glitter. Photos. It was a scrapbook. Each page said, Danielle's journey. There were printed screenshots from social media makeup boards, fashion ideas, diary entries I didn't know she read. At the bottom, Phase 1, complete. My hands trembled. There were tabs labeled Phase 2 and 3. I dropped a glass. She rushed in.
Danielle.
Are you okay? Yeah, sorry, I started. Then I added. It's Ryan. Ryan dropped the glass. Her smile faded. Just for a moment. Then came back, tighter. Brighter. Oh, sweetheart. Ryan didn't drop anything. She held my face gently. Danielle is the one standing here now. And for the first time,
I didn't argue.
That evening she handed me a script. It was a mock interview. How I became the girl I was meant to be. She wanted to film it as a memory project. The words were already written. I used to feel confused, like I was trapped. But then I understood.
I was never really Ryan.
I was Danielle, waiting to be found. I looked up at her. I didn't write this. She smiled. But don't you feel it? I read it aloud. We were cleaning out her closet when she pulled out a long, elegant green gown. This was my prom dress. I raised an eyebrow.
She held it up against me.
Try it. Why? She smiled wistfully. I always imagined my daughter would wear it someday. I almost said no. But she was crying. And when I stepped into it when it zipped tight around me, she gasped and said, It fits better on you than it ever did on me. I overheard her on the phone with Aunt Jess. Yes, she's doing beautifully. You wouldn't recognize her.
Pause.
No, I mean her. My daughter.
Danielle.
Another pause. No, Ryan?
No.
Ryan's not here anymore. My throat tightened. On my bed that night was a new silk nightgown in pale blue. No note. No explanation. Just a quiet expectation. I slipped it on. It hugged my body differently than anything before. I lay in bed, feeling the fabric move with my breathing. And for the first time, I whispered the name aloud in the dark. Danielle. I found it on the kitchen counter, a passport renewal form, but not in my name. Danielle Clark, it read. Under sex, female. Birth year, same. Signature, blank. My voice cracked. Mom, this is... She smiled without looking up. A formality. Paperwork always catches up to real life. She slid a pen across the table. I didn't pick it up, but I didn't tear it up either. One afternoon, I went searching for my old hoodies.
Gone.
I checked the attic, the garage, even the linen closet. Nothing. When I confronted her, she was folding laundry lace bras and floral skirts. "Oh, sweetheart," she said, "I donated everything months ago. You haven't asked for them since." I hadn't even noticed. I felt sick and empty. She took me to the boutique downtown. "I want to spoil you," she said. "You've been such a good girl." I tried on a dozen dresses, each one more feminine than the last. The clerk smiled. "She has such a natural waist." "Jealous." I blushed. Mom grinned like she was showing off a trophy. We left with 5 bags and a receipt longer than my arm. We were getting ready for bed. She was in her robe. I was brushing my teeth. "Have you ever wondered what your prom would have been like?" she asked suddenly. I spat out toothpaste. "What do you mean?" She smiled. "You would have looked stunning. I even have an old tiara. Want to try it?" I laughed awkwardly. But later, while brushing my hair, I found it on my pillow. I wore it.
Just to see.
She called during dinner. Aunt Jess smiled wide. "There's my niece." I froze. My mouth opened to correct her, but Mom squeezed my knee under the table. "She's been growing so much," Mom said. "I can see that," Jess replied. "She's radiant." I smiled weakly. They kept talking like I'd always been Danielle, like Ryan had never existed. And I didn't correct them. At the end of the week, Mom brought out a handmade bracelet, beads in pink and white. It read, "Danielle's Sparkling Heart." She tied it around my wrist herself. "I used to make these for Hannah," she whispered. "Now I get to make one for you." I felt my chest ache. Was it guilt? Or something closer to peace? I'd never played piano before. But she insisted. "It's ladylike," she said. "Graceful." She sat next to me, fingers guiding mine gently. "Good girls have soft hands," she whispered. My cheeks burned, but I didn't stop. And by the end of the lesson, I didn't want to. She invited Carol and 2 other women over for wine and gossip. I tried to stay upstairs. She called, "Danielle, come down. You're one of us now." They gave me a glass of sparkling water with a strawberry in it. Asked about my skincare routine. Talked about heels and blouses and hair serums. I nodded, smiled, played along. But by the end of the night, I was laughing, like I belonged. I was doing dishes when she came in on the phone. "Yes, she's just finishing up," she said casually. When she hung up, I asked, "You meant me, didn't you?" She smiled warmly. "Of course, honey."
She.
"That's who you are." I didn't correct her. I felt warm. And I didn't know if that scared me more or comforted me. That night, I looked through Hannah's things in her room. I hadn't done that since before the accident. Everything was neatly preserved: her diary, her cheerleading trophies, her perfume still faint in the air. I found an old photo of her in a white dress.
Smiling. Alive.
I looked at myself in the mirror holding it. Our faces weren't identical, but they weren't far. I cried without knowing why. Was it because I missed her? Or because I felt like I was becoming her? I didn't create it. But one morning, I found my phone logged into a new Instagram account at DanielleClark_19. Photos already posted. Me in soft lighting. Candids. Laughing at brunch. Reading in the garden. Wearing skirts and sipping from floral teacups. Captions like, "Becoming who I was always meant to be, 2 hearts." I was about to delete it, but I didn't. I posted a new picture instead. "Put on something nice," Mom said. "We're having a girls' night." It was the first time she let me choose. I picked a soft cream blouse and a pleated skirt. Low heels. When we walked into the small Italian place, the hostess smiled and said, "Right this way, ladies." No hesitation. No questions. And when I laughed at Mom's bad joke across the candlelight, I didn't feel like I was acting. We were folding laundry. She held up one of my camisoles, freshly washed. "I remember when you hated wearing these," she teased. I smiled. "I don't hate them anymore."
She leaned in.
"Why not?" I opened my mouth and paused. Because I like how I feel. She kissed my forehead. That night, I opened my voice memo app. I didn't know why, but I pressed record. I'm not sure who I am anymore. Or maybe I do. Maybe this is who I've always been. I don't remember what Ryan liked, or sounded like, or wore. I remember Mom smiling. I remember feeling safe. I remember the way the dress felt that first day. I don't know if it's a joke anymore. And I don't think I want it to be. I didn't delete the recording. Carol dropped off a vintage gown and old pageant dress. Mom smiled like it was Christmas. Try it, Danielle. Let's see if it fits. I stepped into it. It zipped without effort. She clapped like she couldn't contain herself. You're perfect. I turned slowly in front of the mirror. And for the first time, I thought so too. That night, as she tucked me in, not like a child, but like something sacred, she whispered, "You're everything I ever wanted in a daughter." I closed my eyes, and in the silence, I heard myself whisper back, "Thank you, Mom." "I made you an appointment," Mom said over breakfast. "For what?" "Just a basic checkup. We'll update your records." "You mean as Danielle?" She smiled. "It's just paperwork, sweetheart. They already see you that way." I hesitated. She held my hand gently. "Let the world catch up to what you already know." I didn't argue. I used to wait for her to choose my clothes. Now I opened the closet without thinking. I pulled on soft tights, a lace-trimmed camisole, and a skirt with gentle pleats. I paused, then added a matching bra, even though I didn't need one. It just felt right. I looked at myself in the mirror and tilted my head. I adjusted my earrings. Like it was natural. The Instagram account was active. Comments flowed in. "You're glowing. Trans icon. She's such a natural beauty." I didn't feel like I was faking anything anymore. Not even the smile. The girl they saw online was starting to feel like the real me. One night, I sat on my bed with my old yearbook. Ryan's name stared back at me. I tried to remember what my voice used to sound like. I couldn't. I recorded a short message and played it back. "Hi, I'm Danielle, and I think I'm okay." I listened again. It didn't sound like pretending. It just sounded true. Mom came into my room holding a photo frame. It was a picture of Ryan, maybe 10 years old. Messy hair. Big smile. She sat beside me and looked at it quietly, then said, "He was a good kid." I nodded slowly. She looked at me with soft eyes. "But he was always meant to become you." And without another word, she slipped the photo into a box labeled Memories and closed the lid. I had a dream. I was walking through a field in a flowing dress. My hair was long, sunlight in my eyes. Someone was calling for me, Danielle. I turned and smiled, and woke up still smiling. Our neighbor Linda invited us over. She smiled when she saw me. "You must be Danielle. Your mother's told me so much." I nodded, heart racing. She leaned closer. "You carry yourself like a real lady. She raised you well." I wanted to cry, because it didn't feel like a lie. I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser. It used to be full of old shirts, jeans, boxers.
Now?
Lipsticks, stockings, perfume samples, hair ties. Nothing left from before. I sat quietly. The transformation wasn't just emotional. It was complete, and I had helped finish it. A letter arrived in the mail. It was pink with gold trim. Inside, an invitation to a neighborhood debutante-style tea party for young women of promise. Addressed, Miss Danielle Clark. I stared at it for minutes. When I showed it to Mom, she beamed. "You're becoming known. People see you, sweetheart." I swallowed hard. I was seen. And no one saw Ryan anymore. We were in the garden. She was pruning flowers. I asked, if I wanted to stop, could I? She didn't look up. "You could. But would you?" "I don't know." She clipped a rose. "You've come so far. Why go back to someone you weren't happy being?" She placed the rose behind my ear. "Don't doubt beauty once it's bloomed." An unexpected message popped up. "Hey,
Ryan? That you?"
thought I saw your pic online. Looked like you. but different. Hit me back. I stared at it, heart pounding. Then I opened the Instagram account, blocked the number,
Turned off my phone.
At the event, girls were dressed in pastels and lace. We curtsied. We exchanged compliments. I was praised for my poise, my earrings, my speech. At one point, a woman leaned in and whispered, "Your mother has done a remarkable job with you." I smiled, nodded, and realized I didn't feel like I was faking. That night I stood in front of the mirror in my pale pink slip. I stared hard, tried to find the boy I used to be. The angles were softer now, hair longer, earrings familiar. I tilted my head,
Sighed.
and said aloud, "Ryan wouldn't know how to survive now." I found a crumpled document in the trash, unfolded it. It was my old birth certificate with Ryan Clark scratched out. Next to it, a new one, Danielle Marie Clark. I held both in my hands. My heart beat faster. When I asked Mom, she simply said, "Sometimes it's kinder to let the past go completely," and turned back to her cooking. We practiced waltzing. She led, I followed. "You're light on your feet," she said proudly. Such grace. I was wearing a soft chiffon dress that swayed with each step. There was no mirror in the room, only her smile. And the rhythm. I followed it. At the grocery store, the clerk bagged our items and said,
Thank you, Danielle.
"Have a lovely day." I blinked. "How did you?" He nodded toward my necklace. I had forgotten I was wearing it.
Danielle.
It wasn't just a name now. It was the only way the world addressed me. An email came addressed to Ryan Clark. School was updating old records. I stared at it like it was a ghost.
Name.
ID number. Grade level. All reminders of someone I wasn't supposed to be anymore. I almost deleted it, but I forwarded it to Mom instead. She replied with a screenshot of the updated name, Danielle Clark. That was the end of it. Carol visited. She called me Ryan by accident. The room went still. Mom's smile didn't change, but her tone chilled. "Oh, that name doesn't exist anymore." I laughed nervously. Carol turned red.
Right.
Sorry. Later, Mom and I were folding towels. She said quietly, "Sometimes people hold on to the past because they can't accept the future." I nodded, but her words stayed with me longer than I wanted. In the middle of the night, I got up to use the bathroom. I passed her room. Her door was cracked open. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, holding one of Hannah's old dresses to her chest, crying silently. I stepped back into the shadows. I didn't say anything. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. While cleaning the basement, I found a cardboard box labeled Ryan Old. Inside, yearbooks, sports trophies, video game cartridges, and one old t-shirt I used to love. I sat there, surrounded by pieces of someone who felt like a stranger now. I clutched the t-shirt to my chest and cried quietly. Then I folded it and put it back in the box, and left it there. One afternoon, I answered the door and froze. It was Ethan, my childhood best friend. He stared at me, confused. "Danielle?" I nodded. "You look wow. I thought you moved." I shook my head. "I'm still here. Just different." He smiled nervously. "Can we talk sometime?" I opened my mouth, but Mom appeared behind me. "I think that's not a good idea right now." She closed the door, gently, but firmly. I sat on the edge of my bed, wearing a soft blue robe, hair tied back in a satin ribbon. I touched the mirror with my fingertips, whispered, "Is this really me now?" And the reflection didn't answer, but it didn't resist either. Mom and I walked through town.
Shops.
Cafes. A few people waved, "Hi, Danielle." A little girl in pigtails looked up at me and said, "You're pretty." I smiled. "Thank you." She ran back to her mom. Mom squeezed my hand proudly. "You make me so proud." And I didn't feel like a joke anymore. That night, an envelope lay on my pillow. Inside, a certificate of legal gender change. It was done. No fanfare. No discussion. Just facts. And a handwritten note beneath it. "This is the beginning of forever. Love, Mom, 2 hearts." I stared at it. My heart felt too full. Of what? I didn't know yet. It happened in the grocery store. A woman I didn't recognize stared at me from across the aisle, then approached. "You're Danielle Clark?" I nodded, cautious. She frowned. "You look like her, but you're not her." I blinked. "Excuse me? You're not Hannah," she said bitterly. "I knew her. You're just a replacement."
She turned and left.
The air felt colder. I gripped the shopping cart to steady myself. I confronted Mom that night. "Did you name me after her on purpose?" She didn't answer at first. Then, softly, "I never asked you to be her. I missed having a daughter. And you were the only one left who could understand." My voice cracked. "So I'm not real? Just some shadow?" "You're real," she whispered. "You're the most real thing I've had since she died." I didn't know if that was love or possession. In a burst of emotion, I stormed into the basement, found the box marked Ryan Old, dragged it into the backyard, lit a match. One by one, I dropped in photos, shirts, memories. Mom stood behind me in silence. Only when I dropped in the last photo did she whisper, "Goodbye." But I wasn't sure who she meant. I opened my inbox. A new message from Ethan. "I saw you the other day. I don't know if you're still you, but I miss who you were. And if you ever want to talk, I'll be here." I didn't reply. I didn't delete it either. I just stared. I looked in the mirror again. Flawless makeup. Blush on point. Hair curled just right. But my expression was blank. Was this for me? Or for her? Or for the world that now only knew Danielle? The girl in the mirror didn't answer. She just waited. Late at night, I pulled open the drawer in Mom's room. Found Hannah's diary. Inside were entries. So many entries. One in particular chilled me. "Sometimes I feel like Mom only loves me because I'm her perfect little doll. Like I'm not allowed to be anyone else." I stared at the page, the handwriting, and suddenly I knew exactly how she felt.
We had a formal event.
Something small, something public. I wore the baby blue satin dress. Everyone praised me, but I wasn't smiling. Back home, I tried to take it off too fast. The fabric tore at the zipper. I screamed, pulled it harder, ripped it further. I collapsed on the floor sobbing, surrounded by shredded satin. She found me there, didn't speak,
just held me.
Like she was afraid I'd run. I found it while cleaning, tucked inside a drawer, a business card from Dr. Miriam Lane, Gender Identity and Youth Psychology. I had never met her. I asked Mom, "Did you send me to therapy?" She looked away. "Only once. Right at the beginning." "When?" She hesitated. "Before I ever said yes?" She didn't answer. I called Dr. Lane pretending to be my mother. She emailed me my session notes. There was only one. It read, "Patient appears emotionally withdrawn. Passive. Unclear if the transition desire is self-motivated or parent-influenced. Recommendation: do not proceed until autonomy is clearly established." I stared at the note for hours, then printed it, folded it into my diary,
and cried.
That evening I didn't speak. Mom served pasta,
Poured wine.
smiled like everything was okay. When she finally said, "Something wrong, sweetie?" I just said, "I know about the session." The fork dropped from her hand. Silence. And then the softest whisper, "You're happier now, aren't you?" I stood up, walked out of the room.
She didn't follow me.
I went to Hannah's grave. First time in over a year. I sat cross-legged in front of the stone. Whispered, "Did I take your life, or did she give me yours?" No answer. Only the wind. And a single flower that fell from a nearby branch, landing on my lap.
Pink. Soft.
I took it home. I was looking through the family computer. A hidden folder, labeled H Project. Inside, videos. Mom recording me while I was asleep, brushing my hair, trying wigs on me, whispering affirmations. One clip of me in early transition, crying in the mirror while she stood behind me smiling. My stomach turned. I didn't finish the rest. I pressed record on my voice diary again. What if I was never really Danielle? What if I'm just Hannah's echo? I like how I feel now. I like being her. But what if it wasn't me who chose this? What if I was trained, not transformed? The words hung in the air. No answer. I came home late. Mom had locked her door. For the first time ever. A note on my bed. We both need time. I love you. Always.
Mom.
I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't know what to wear the next morning. Or who to be. I threw it out. The baby blue dress, the one from the first tea party, the first compliments, the first moment I felt seen. I stuffed it deep into the garbage bin. Then I stood there. Frozen. Not because I missed it, but because I wanted to pull it back out. I never asked for this. I screamed. She stood at the kitchen table, wine glass trembling in her hand. You looked so lost, she said softly. I thought I could help you find something. You thought you could make me into something, I snapped. Into her. She started to cry. I just wanted a daughter again. Well, congratulations, I said, voice like glass. You got one. I left before she could reply. I packed a bag. Plain clothes. Jeans.
Hoodie.
No makeup. Nothing pink. I looked like a stranger again. I didn't tell her I was leaving. I just walked out. Onto the street. Toward the bus station. But when I bought the ticket, the clerk looked at my ID. Danielle Clark? I nodded automatically. She smiled. Pretty name. I hesitated. Then tore the ticket in half. And left. I collapsed in the park. Fell onto the bench, gasping. Not from exhaustion. From the weight. The weight of Ryan. The weight of Danielle. The weight of her Hannah. I'm not any of you. Or maybe I'm all of you. I got home to find a voicemail. Her voice cracked. You don't have to forgive me. I just want you to be safe. I didn't mean to break you. I couldn't handle losing 2 children. The message ended, and I curled up in the hallway, sobbing into my sleeves. Ethan showed up again. No warning. He stood on the porch, nervous but kind. I just wanted to see if you were okay. I opened the door a crack. He didn't stare at my hair or clothes or makeup. Just me. I don't know who I am anymore, I told him. He nodded. That's okay. I don't think any of us really do. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel judged. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, scissors in hand. I thought about cutting it all off, starting over, becoming Ryan again. But instead, I trimmed the ends, even the bangs, brushed it until it gleamed, because maybe, just maybe, I wasn't done being Danielle. At least not yet. It was late. A knock at the door. No one was there, just an envelope on the step. Addressed in elegant cursive, to Danielle Clark, urgent. Inside, a folded legal document and a typed letter. Mom stood behind me as I read. Dear Danielle, this is to inform you that your birth records have been officially sealed. Your original identity, Ryan Clark, no longer exists in any legal capacity. Per request initiated and processed by legal guardian, Margaret Clark. This decision is irreversible. I looked up at her, tears in my eyes. You did this without telling me? Her face was pale. I thought you were ready. I never said I wanted this. Silence. Then I dropped the letter and ran upstairs. I locked the door, stared at myself in the full-length mirror. The girl looking back was beautiful. Hair done, soft blouse, glossy lips.
Danielle.
But behind her eyes was a question. Who would I have been if she hadn't made me this way? That night, Ethan messaged me. Someone posted your old photos online. They're going around school. People know, Danielle. I froze. I logged in. Saw the post. Photo of Ryan. Side by side with Danielle. Caption. Guess who this really is? Thousands of likes. Hundreds of comments. Some supportive. Some cruel. Some just shocked. Mom knocked on my door. I'm so sorry. I didn't know this would happen. I didn't answer. Just opened the closet. Stared at the clothes inside. Dresses.
Heels. Wigs.
and in the back something I thought I had burned. Ryan's old hoodie. I reached for it,
Paused.
looked back at the mirror, then at the phone in my hand, still buzzing with notifications. Cut to black. Then, a close-up shot of Danielle standing at the edge of her bed. In one hand, the old hoodie. In the other, a soft pink dress. Tears in her eyes.
Then,
A knock at the door. A familiar voice. Danielle, honey? She turns, and the screen fades to black. What do you think she chose? Did Danielle keep living her new life or finally fight back? A comment below what you would have done if you were her.